Your existence into this world is with a purpose. And to perceive the purpose of your existence is the defiance of mankind. But when you vanquish this defiance, you explore the unexplored. As a child, my nice self never knew that a tumbler was hot unless I touched and felt it. As the chapters of life unfolded, the challenges crept in. As I rejoiced the victories in my life, so did I face defeats. But for me, the light was always visible at the other end of the tunnel. And that light guided me to pave my way, to put my best foot forward with an untiring will to explore. I went on to explore the unfathomable depth of sea by competing in an international pageant after facing 17 defeats back home. To be or not to be was the question. But as karma decides, I took the plunge to explore. From being a girl next door to becoming Miss Cuba International, this coveted title gave a new purpose to my mission. And I was extremely overwhelmed that I became the first Indian to ever win this prestigious title and create history for my country, India. This is where I realized what it feels to know the purpose of your existence and conquer it. I was thrilled. This title also paved my way of becoming the Ocean Ambassador, because the pageant serves for the purpose of saving oceans through beauty. After winning the title, I got opportunity to travel around the world to attend, learn, and explore diverse dive expos and conferences, meet people all over the world, interacting with them, inclining me completely to the world underwater. On this note, I would like to share a small incident that actually happened during one of my trips. So, it was in Australia when I was strolling with my father in the Cairns market. While walking, I suddenly realized I was not carrying the charging cable of my GoPro. And I knew I needed it because I had my dive tomorrow. And that too, in one of my dream dive destinations, the Great Barrier Reef. But I couldn't ask my father that I needed the cable because I was not carrying any cash with me. So I got worried. My dad looked at me. He knew something was bothering me. He asked me, "Is there something that you want to convey to me? You look worried." I hesitated a bit. Then I told him that, "Dad, I actually forgot the charging cable of my GoPro and I would be needing it for my dive tomorrow." But as fathers are, he didn't take a second to think twice. He knew there was only 3 to 4 minutes left for the last bus to arrive. Still, he ran into the market. I ran along with him. We got the cable. And trust me, that incident was a blessing in disguise, because it gave birth to my very first production, a short movie called The Voice of Ocean. It was one of the best dives, and the captures from the dive contributed greatly to my short movie. This whole incident I call as the $10 dive, because the cable costed me $10. Whenever I go for a dive, I realize that climate change is a harsh reality and is actually happening. Though I'm a climate leader, I did my master's in environment science, but I always had the theoretical knowledge and experience above the land. After winning this title, I got the opportunity to dive. And when given this opportunity, trust me, the world underwater is surreal and absolutely magical. You are made to believe that it's a parallel universe out there that you can only experience when you dive. This is when we realize how the marine life is struggling for their survival, how they defy coral bleaching, trafficking their way out through the plastic world that is invading into their space. I wonder, is it only fair that they are struggling to breathe in their own environment? While diving, I also witnessed a lot of plastic around. The way the fishes were actually struggling to feed on bleached corals, and the catastrophe of climate change everywhere. As Miss Cuba International and Ocean Ambassador, it's my duty to create awareness. What I saw during my dive, coral bleaching, actually touched my heart, the way the marine life is struggling for their survival. There is actually a very funny thing that keeps coming to my mind sometimes when I'm diving, that the way we have a community of people working towards saving the environment and conserving our oceans. But yet, there are few who are still damaging it. Soon, the marine life will form a community or might have their own scientist in maybe 5 to 10 years' time, that they start discussing what to do, that the humans understand that their actions are actually troubling us. They are bothering in a way that we are struggling to breathe in our own environment. So it's kind of a funny thing that keeps coming into my mind. But that is actually what's going to happen if we don't take the responsibility. So if you don't act responsibly, the nature will. One of my major concerns is global warming. Due to global warming, the water temperatures have risen significantly, which contributes to coral bleaching. As facts suggest, the longest recorded global bleaching event occurred during 2014 to 2016. And that event killed corals in an unprecedented scale. The bleaching of corals in the Great Barrier Reef killed almost 29 to 50% of corals. Most of us wonder, why do we need coral reefs? Coral reefs are extremely important because they protect the coastlines from storms and erosion. They provide jobs to the local communities. They also offer opportunity for recreation. Coral reefs are a great source of new medicine and food. And over 500 million of people depend on reefs for their income, protection, and food. We need to protect the coral reefs. We need to save our oceans. Also, having said that, one of the most dramatic effects of global warming is the melting glaciers. This means that less of heat is reflected by the polar caps and more of heat is absorbed by oceans. This gives rise to the sea level because the temperature is rising. We know that more than 50% of the people have settled near water bodies that are connected to the oceans, especially countries like Maldives and Bangladesh. Low-lying areas are in great threat. So we need to act faster to protect and save the environment and conserve our oceans. Oceans are extremely important as they play a fundamental role in supporting life on Earth by regulating our climate and the air that we breathe. Majority of the world's oxygen is produced by oceans, and they do so by storing and transporting a huge amount of water, heat, and greenhouse gases. Our oceans have two types of currents, the warm currents and the cold currents, which are responsible for regulating climate change. Similarly, oceans also absorb 50 times more carbon dioxide than our atmosphere. The reason I share all this with you today, because I want you to realize how important our oceans are for our brighter future and our survival. Though in the past 2 to 3 years, I have seen people changing their attitude towards the environment. They are doing their bit to protect it, not throwing the plastic in the ocean. But yet, we need to stand together and fight to save our future. We need to act faster because the time is now. I would want to share a thought of my own. As we may believe, reasons to live are many, and deep down, we may find the objectives. But when in life, you feel blind, rise up to the sun and say to yourself, I am still alive. This particular thought I shared so that it gives the hope that we can still work on it and have a brighter and greener planet. Because we know this is the only place we call home, and there is no planet B. Doing your bit is a huge contribution towards the environment. You can practice sustainable living. You can reuse the plastic. You can also make use of the runoffs that's from the air condition at home, offices, or the aquaguard. These are things that are doable in your day-to-day life. So whenever possible, create that awareness, help out each other, discuss what is the need of the hour. Because trust me, your actions today will not only create a wave, but will bring a revolution. Thank you.